Hello friends, welcome to my channel. This is Pradeep Sengupta, your ISC English mentor and coach. I have decided to take up V.S. Naipaul's B. Wordsworth today. It is the 10th chapter in Echoes, a collection of ISC short stories, and I'll try to figure out the theme of the story, the message of the story, and the title of the story for you. One of the themes of this story is that in the modern materialistic world, poetry holds no charm and poets are only looked upon as crazy, abnormal persons, even tramps. Poetry is certainly a bad profession. It is often not sellable. That is why when the boy in the story asks his mother if she would like to buy a poetry for 4 cents, she criticizes the poet and asks his son to tell the poet to get out of her house. In such circumstances, the poet can do little to survive. B. Wordsworth sings calypsonians in the calypso season to make some money. Though that is not sufficient, he is working on an ambitious poem. He tells about it to the boy. Later, he takes a U-turn and denies that he has anything to do with poetry. We feel that he is doing so in order to distract the boy from poetry business, as he does not want him to suffer like him. He has discovered in the boy the potential of becoming a poet. The story implicitly states that the good old values such as love, devotion, sincerity, sentimentality, sensitivity, etc. have vanished in the new world. The poet B. Wordsworth and the boy Sonny may or may not be poets, but they are certainly endowed with poetic temperament. Both of them are hypersensitive and sentimental. The poet, in particular, spends a lot of time in watching unusual things like bees, ants, scorpions, centipedes, etc., the stars in the sky, and so on and so forth. The boy Sonny, with the same temperament, begins to imitate him. The poet tells him his own love story indirectly. Later, he calls the story a lie. Eventually, the death of the poet comes as a big shock to the boy. The boy feels that the poet's death is the death of his own poetic world. A year later, he finds that the house of the poet is nowhere, and the new big 2-storied building has taken its place. Brick and concrete in place of fruit trees and wild green indicates the demise of an era in which people loved nature and upheld old human values. An era with which the famous poet William Wordsworth is associated. The character in the story and the message of the story is quite eccentric. The story aims at no direct message. It is up to the readers to arrive at some sort of possible message. We should ponder over the conditions in which sensitive people like B. Wordsworth are a failure. It is the failure of a system. In fact, the individual often fails in the absence of failed system. Society must ensure such conditions in which fine artists like poet could live with honor and dignity. I think there is one more message in the story, and that is regarding environment. In the name of development, we go on felling trees and raising buildings of brick and concrete. We need to ponder over the consequences. In our modern day world, deforestation is a major problem and a source of many environmental related ills. Now let's look at the title of the story. The title is apt and eye-catching. It arouses our interest as to who this B. Wordsworth is, as we have heard of only William Wordsworth. Like the great poet, B. Wordsworth is also a poet, though a failed one, a hugely unsuccessful one. Throughout the story, he is the center of interest. The story begins with the reference to the visit of a stranger to a boy's house. It is the stranger who names the boy Sonny out of affection. The purpose of his visit is unusual. This man is a singer and a poet. He possesses all the traits of a poet and calls the famous poet William Wordsworth his brother. The boy is also a sort of a poet, at least the man believes so. The boy comes to visit the poet's house. It is at this stage that the boy is told a tragic love story between the boy and a girl, which we understand is the poet's own. The boy also learns that the poet is working on a great poem, and this raises our curiosity about the man. The death of B. Wordsworth is suggested as the demise of an era with reference to the disappearance of his house and all the greenery in it, the rise of a two-storied building, and the scene of brick and concrete everywhere reveals how the sensitive poetic world is rudely replaced by one of concrete reality, where there is no room for any object of nature. And that's how the story is assigned a suitable title. I hope you might have enjoyed my analysis. Please subscribe my channel and stay tuned for the upcoming notes on different stories and poems. Thank you very much.